Hello everyone, today we're going to make a gingerbread cheesecake. Now, and we're going to use a 9-inch springform pan. The first thing you want to do is oil the pan with some vegetable spray or some cooking spray. Okay. And then you want to put parchment paper in the bottom. Only thing I did was take the pan, outline the pan and on the parchment paper, and I stuck it in the bottom. Next, what you want to do is make your water bath for the cheesecake. What I have is just a pan to hold the water in. This pan, you can either use foil to wrap your springform pan up or use something like this. Put this pan into another pan. You might want to check the foil pan to make sure it doesn't leak. I've done that. So this fits nicely in here and this fits nicely in there. And you're going to put the water right here to about 2 inches to the top of the springform pan, which is about right here. Okay, so when you press down, your cheesecake is going to be heavy. So you want to press down and see how far your water is. And you want to put it to about this far. Just make sure it doesn't overflow this pan, of course. Make sure it's this far. Okay, now set this, take this pan out, set this to the side. You turn on your oven to 300 while you're making your cheesecake. And put this water bath in the oven so this can heat up too. The next thing you want to do is make your crust. And this is about 30 gingersnap cookies. You put them in there to crush them up into your food processor. Get these nice and crushed up. And when you grind the cookies, make sure they look like this. A powder consistency. And next you want to pour the butter in. To form, so it can form a good crust in your pan. Pulse it. See what it looks like on the side, nice and wet, so it'll stick to your pan. That's what you want. Now let me check it. This looks good. This looks good. This will work fine, and we'll put this at the bottom of the pan. Let's move this. Now we're ready to pour in the crust. Once it's in there, all you do is press it. Clean hands, just press it in. Done. Set this to the side and start your cheesecake. Next, we're going to make the gingerbread batter. And first you want to assemble your dry ingredients. The first thing you want to have a separate bowl. So first thing you want to do is take a cup of flour, put it into the bowl. And then you want your spices. This is 3/4 teaspoon of ginger, 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg. In the middle is 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And on the side is 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. So put all these in there. Okay, good. Now you just want to whisk it, stir it up real good. Get it all mixed up. Now, set this to the side. Next, we want to put in our wet ingredients into a separate bowl. First thing that goes in is 2 tablespoons of sugar, 1/4 cup of molasses. Next thing is a 1/4 cup of butter softened. And then we're going to put in 1 egg, beaten, lightly beaten. And lastly, a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. Now we're going to use our hand mixer and beat this until it's light and fluffy. Okay, so do you see this? This is about the consistency that you want it to be. Alright, so now you can start adding your flour mixture and your buttermilk. And you alternate. You put a little bit of your flour mixture in. About 1/3 of it. And then you blend it up. You don't want to mix too much. Don't use your mixer for this. You want to blend this. Okay, and next you want to add some buttermilk. Here's your buttermilk. Don't put it all in yet, just about half. Okay, now blend this. Mix this, rather, not blend it, but mix it. Okay, next you want to use your flour. You have to alternate. Okay, we have mixed the wet and the dry ingredients. And also alternated the flour mixture with the buttermilk. And here you have your gingerbread batter. Now put this to the side and you can start on your cheesecake. Okay, so next we're going to be making the cheesecake. And I'm using a food processor. It works better for me. So take this off, set it to the side, and I'm using 4 softened blocks of cream cheese. Add this in. Let's go ahead and add that next block in. And we're going to put in a cup of sugar too. Here's a cup of sugar. And we're going to mix this rather, until it's nice and smooth. That should take roughly 2 minutes. And as you're mixing it, make sure you scrape down the sides. So, this is a good consistency. You want your mixture, your cream cheese and sugar mixture to look as creamy as this. Now, you want to start adding in your eggs. And I took 4 eggs. 4 eggs, lightly beaten, and I'm putting in 1/4 of the eggs at a time. Put in some. Let's blend this up. About 30 seconds. Stop it. It's easier to do it this way. Take it off the top. Add another 1/4 of the eggs. And this last bit of egg. Get all that egg in there. And we're going to blend this. Once this is blended, we're going to add our sour cream and vanilla. Here is our vanilla. This is 1 teaspoon. And this is a cup of sour cream to make it nice, light, and fluffy versus a thick, rich cheesecake. Mix this until just blended. And there you have it. Now we're going to pour this into the crust and alternate between cheesecake and the gingerbread batter that we made earlier. Now, to finish off putting your cheesecake together, you have the crust that's been put to the side, and this has been oiled. So now you want to layer your cheesecake and your gingerbread batter. Your first layer will be your cheesecake. The next layer you want to spoon in your gingerbread batter everywhere. So with each slice, you'll get a taste of the batter, taste of the gingerbread. Pour this over it. I'm about to put in another layer of gingerbread batter. Let's pour your cheesecake in there. And try to cover up the batter as much as possible. If some peeks through, that's completely fine. Once you have all your cheesecake in there, you're going to want to put this in your preheated oven. Remember, you preheated your oven to 300 degrees. As soon as you place this cheesecake in there, you're going to take the temperature down to 250 degrees. Okay, so I placed my cheesecake inside of the foil pan. There's nothing in here. Now, I put this inside of my bigger pan that has water down in here, so we can have a nice water bath going. This is going to insulate instead of putting the foil all around the springform pan and possibly having a leak. So this will work better. And push this in nice and slow. Try not to burn yourself. It is not necessary to put the water all the way up to the top. So just make sure you put it up high enough to where you're comfortable to do this. Now, I put this in this preheated oven, and right now I'm going to turn it down to 250 degrees. Preheat the oven to 300 degrees, place cake in the oven, and immediately turn it down to 250 degrees. Leave it in for an hour and 45 minutes. Then turn off the oven, open the oven door for 1 minute, then close the door, then leave the cake in for another hour. It will be done when it's a 2 to 4 inch circumference in the middle that's pudding jiggly and not water jiggly. Then place the cake in the fridge for at least 6 hours. Overnight it'll be best. Okay, so the cheesecake is done. We have a couple of cracks right here, but that's okay because we're going to cover it with a marshmallow cream topping. It's marshmallow meringue topping, so this is fine. Okay, so next we're going to be making the marshmallow meringue. And what you're going to need for this is some marshmallow cream, about 7 ounces, 7 to 8 ounces. That's what I have here. Marshmallow cream. Make sure you put it into a bowl and set it to the side because you're going to fold in your egg whites into this, your stiff peaks of egg whites into this. Just put it to the side. Next you're going to need your egg whites. This is 3 large egg whites. 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of cream of tartar, and 1/4 cup of sugar. So what you're going to do is in here, you're going to put your egg whites into the bowl. Egg whites, and then you're going to add the salt. And next your cream of tartar. And then you're going to beat this until it's foamy. I'll put the mixer on high speed. And scrape down the sides as you can. I'm going to need to scrape down the side right here to make sure everything is incorporated. There. Now let's turn this back on. This may take a minute or so. Okay, so that's foamy right there. So now we're going to start adding our sugar in a little bit at a time until stiff glossy peaks form. So continue beating this. Okay, this is what you want. Stiff, glossy peaks. See, it stands up. This is what you want. Now be careful, because what you're going to do next is fold the marshmallow cream into this. You don't want to stir it up because you don't want to break it and make everything fall. Okay. Take your marshmallow cream, add half in at a time, and fold it in. It's going to be sticky, but that's okay, because it's not going to be sticky the whole time. It'll become less sticky as you fold it in. Remember, don't stir it, just try to fold it in to keep all the stiff peaks. Okay, so I folded in the marshmallow cream into the egg whites. This is how it should look. And now we're going to top our cheesecake and bake it for about 5 minutes. Now that we have it topped, we're going to bake it in the oven, 400 degrees preheated oven. And we're going to bake it for about 5 minutes. You want to bake it until you see it become lightly brown, very light brown in the peaks. And I'll show you what that looks like when it's done. Okay, and here you have it, the finished product. Of course, you're supposed to let this cool before you take your springform part off. Let this cool. But here it is, your gingerbread cheesecake. Thank you.